Hey everybody, have you considered starting a podcast? We here at Screwball highly recommend Podbean for getting your podcast out to a larger audience. Podbean has given us the ability to easily bring you Screwball each and every week on all of your favorite podcast services. Use the link podbean.com/screwball to sign up and save up to 35% annually. You can also use the link podbean.com/pro/screwball to sign up for a business subscription. Happy podcasting. Hey everybody, welcome back to Screwball, a baseball podcast, your home for everything baseball. I'm your host, Mike Lepre, here with my co-host, Frank White.
Hey, how's it going?
This is episode 59 of Screwball. A little slow news week this week. Not much really to talk about, so we figured we'd lead off right with our topic of conversation and our first piece of news, which is really hot topic of conversation around baseball these last few days. So, my number one piece of news and our topic for the day, on Sunday, April 26th, the Arizona Diamondbacks faced the Atlanta Braves in a 7-inning doubleheader. In Game 2 of the doubleheader, Madison Bumgarner threw a 7-inning no-hitter en route to a 7-0 win over the Braves. This sparked a conversation around baseball regarding the validity of the no-hitter. While the record books do not count it as official, some around baseball do consider it a legitimate no-hitter. So this is a big talk right now. A lot of baseball news guys are talking about it. A lot of baseball writers. I think even some baseball players chimed in on it. And this is kind of what we wanted to go on, is the 7-inning doubleheader thing, the 7-inning games, and the fact that Madison Bumgarner threw a 7-inning no-hitter. And like I said in my write-up here, the MLB and the stat books don't count it as a no-hitter, as an official no-hitter. But we have some concerns about that. A lot of people do. And I'll just kick it right over to Frank to let him talk a little bit here on kind of what he thinks about the no-hitter and what's going on with that.
Yeah, I remember when they first brought up the idea of 7-inning double headers and then are there no hitters going to count? I think it should count as no hitter. Now, if it's a perfect game, no. I believe a perfect game should be 27 outs, 27 up, 27 down. That's a perfect game. 7-inning, I don't think it could be a perfect game. Just like if we had a combined no hitter, combined perfect game. It's not a combined perfect game because another pitcher came in. So I think the perfect game part, yes, you're right there. Yeah, MLB is right there. The no-hitter, it should count. You made this an official game. He did it in an official window, so it's official. What gets me is if you're going to say that it's not an official no-hitter because he did it in a 7-inning game, then you're saying that they understand the fact that a 7-inning game is not official, and it's not real, essentially. That is like, oh, well, we shouldn't be having 7-inning games. That's what the MLB is saying. Nobody's saying, oh, well, 7-inning games are like, we're just doing it just to have save time, I guess. So I don't trust in it either. If you really like the 7-inning doubleheader idea, then you got to show the players that you do. Right now, you're just discrediting it. If you're going to say a 7-inning game is not official, and the no-hitter is not official, then why do any other stats account in a 7-inning no-hitter? Why, if I have 5 doubleheaders this year, that's 10 games, none of those games should count on my win-loss record because it's not official. It's not an official 9-inning game. Why not? I don't understand. I believe the no-hitter should count. Perfect game, no. I grant you that. Shouldn't count. No-hitter should count. You gave me 7 innings to play with. I'll play with 7 innings. Yep. It's a no-hitter. They shouldn't just discredit it. But you have people around baseball say, oh, well, Galarraga should get a perfect game for a missed call. No. He gave up a hit. This guy didn't. So you credit that guy his, who gave up a hit, but not credit this guy who didn't give up a hit? It's just... If you're going to do something and you're going to like something and you're going to push for something, you have to be fully behind it. I feel like the MLB's not fully behind a 7-inning game for doubleheaders. And it shows it. And it goes again with the extra inning rule, too. You want to place a guy on second base. If I drive him in, I get an RBI. Why? That's not an official runner.
Yeah.
He didn't earn his way there. He was placed there. So why does that count as an RBI? If I throw no hitter, it doesn't count. And to get into my favorite part of this, which I told you before we even started, the game before, Zach Gallen threw a one-hitter. 7-inning, one-hit, complete game shutout. He'll get the complete game. He'll get the shutout. He'll get the win. In his career, he'll get credited with a one-hitter.
It's weird.
But Bumgarner throws 7-inning, complete game shutout. No hits. Doesn't get credit with a no-hitter.
It's strange.
But if it was a 9-inning game for Gallen, he only went 7 innings. He doesn't get credit with a one-hitter because he didn't finish the game. So you're going to credit him with a one-hitter, but not the guy who threw a no-hitter. I feel like there's a lot you could do with the 7-inning games. I think quality starts should be adjusted if you're only playing 7 innings. Instead of 6 full innings for a quality start, maybe it's 5 innings. I think they need to adjust the stats for this a little bit because it's an official game.
It's true.
I I don't know. I feel like they did it to get by. They liked the idea. They pushed for it, but never thought about any consequences of pushing for it. And then they're going to show that they don't like it, or they don't care for it, because if you cared for it, you wouldn't have came out right here and just be like, well, it's not official. So why are we playing them?
Yeah.
You're playing fake games just to fill games, just to make money?
Yeah. No, I hear you. It's strange. I was kind of split on it when I heard it. They did it. I was like, well, on one hand, he pitched in the grounds that you established. The grounds are that it's a 7-inning game. He pitched in those grounds, and he didn't give up any hits in the parameters of what you said was an official game. Then right there, that should be a no-hitter. Yeah. Then there's the other part of it where I do understand the explanation. Well, he still needed to there still are 6 outs in a normal game. It's like, okay, I understand that. You'd like there to be the equal footing. Like the guy that threw the no-hitter in 9 innings is the same as the guy in the 7-inning no-hitter. I get that argument too, but I lean more in the camp of that if you're considering a lot of these stats in 7-inning games, like you said, the complete game shutout, 1 hitter, those are considered statistics, even though it won't say a 7-inning game probably in the record books.
No.
So then why does it make it different if the guy pitched even better in those 7 innings? It's and to your point with the guy on second in extra innings, the pitcher doesn't get an earned run if that guy scores that's placed on second, but you get an RBI. So then even right there, you're playing with statistics, right?
And they played that right.
Yeah.
I believe that's right.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that you should get, the pitcher shouldn't get an earned run for that. But that doesn't mean I shouldn't get a no-hitter for throwing 7 innings.
Yeah.
The perfect game, no, shouldn't get that.
Agreed.
You need 27 outs, 27 up, 27 down. But I don't understand. If it's rain shortened, and you don't get a game for that, and you want to push for that, I get that more. I still believe that you count the game as official. It's official. I believe if you throw a no-hitter, if it's a 5-inning game and it's an official game, it's an official game. It's a no-hitter. If you want to throw an asterisk next to it, and just say like, hey, this wasn't 9 innings. Okay, but he still should get his credit. Hey, it's not 9 innings, but he did it.
Yeah.
Okay. I just don't get, if it's an official game, it's an official, it's like.
And that's the thing. Like I said, you set the baseball MLB set the parameters. Hey, here's what we're doing. This is a doubleheader, but the doubleheader is going to be 7 innings each. Okay, but these are official games still. But we're setting up the parameters here as this is what we're saying is the official game for this year and last year. Who knows what they do for the future for a doubleheader. Okay, then come out and say if a no-hitter were to occur during those 7 innings, it counts. Or
well, they said originally that it won't count when they first proposed this idea last year. They're like, well, 7 innings, it won't count.
Okay.
But why?
Yeah. What's your explanation? Yeah. And
I know it's going to be, they have a rule, and 91 they changed the way things were done, but it's an official game now. So it's like baseball came up with their grand idea of making a baseball game a 7-inning game all the time. Would none of those no-hitters count if you started throwing them in there? Yeah. No, they would count because that's the official game. That's the official length of the game. Well, it used to be 9 innings. It's not 9 innings anymore. Yeah. You can't penalize a pitcher for not throwing 2 more innings when there's not 2 more innings to pitch.
Yeah, for not being born to pitch in the 90s or 2000s.
It's like I'm going to credit, I'm not going to credit the guy to cycle because he got the cycle in 5 innings and got taken out. Well, he didn't play a 9-inning game.
Yeah.
What the fuck he did? He got the stuff he needed.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. I see what they're trying to say, but you made it an official game. Well, the stats official, they're not official. If it's an official game, the stats are official. If it's a spring training game, that's an expedition game, doesn't count. All-Star game, expedition game, it doesn't count. Official season game, I lose the season this year by 1 game, lose the division. I can look back at that doubleheader and say I lost 2 games in that doubleheader. I lost the division because of that 1 game. So that means it's official. It's as official as it gets.
Yeah.
Don't matter if it's a 100-inning game or if it's a 7-inning game. If it's official, it's official.
It's a strange call because it seems to be the only thing that they're not considering official about everything in the game. The strikeouts all count, the ground balls all count, the home runs all count. Yeah.
Why not play? If you want to go down that road, why not play 1 game when you're due for a doubleheader, and that 1 game will count for 2.
Could do that too.
Therefore, all the stats are the same, but you only play 1 game and you save the time. Well, you won't do that because now you're going to have a hitter play. Well, I played 162 games this year. Even though one game I technically didn't get 4 at-bats.
Yeah.
Because it all counted as 1. So you won't do that. But it's just, I personally don't even like the 7 inning games. I don't see why you shave 2 innings off. It's going to say, what are you saving?
Yeah, it's yeah.
That's the reason you brought out, you have a doubleheader, you get an extra guy. You get an extra guy when you get a doubleheader.
Mm.
I just don't, I'm not a big fan of the 7 inning games. Well, first of all, if it's going to be official, just one game, that's what they're going to go to. So minor leagues, I want to play 7 inning games. That's stupid. I don't like that at all.
Me neither.
I'm not 15 years old playing Little League.
Yeah.
I can play 9 innings.
Yeah, I'm a grown man.
Yeah. But if you're going to do doubleheaders, you're going to do 7 inning games.
Yeah, most people will at least live with it.
That's not going to be the one that I'm going to be like, nope, MLB's stupid. That's not going to be the one reason. Mm-hmm. But I'm not a big fan of it. But if you're going to go, if you want to stand up and straight up and down, this is what we do, you got to stand by it.
Yeah.
You know, you just don't seem like you get that from some other sports, you know.
And especially with a game like baseball that's so rooted in tradition and history, you know, it's different from other sports. There's really a lot of sacred stuff in the game, and you know, they seem to just play around with it how they like.
Yeah,
which is frustrating.
And one thing I think, sometimes I do try comparing it to other sports. It kind of just pops in my head here. It's like when football had the replay for pass interference on one year. Right in the beginning of the year, they knew they had issues with it. They stuck by it. They signed in. They wanted it for the 1 year. They could have just took it out. I'm sure the owners would have just passed it. The Players Association would have just passed taking it out. They stuck with it that year. They're like, hey, we said we were going to do it this year. We're doing it. Even though it's crappy or it doesn't work. Then they took it out the next year. So they stuck by it. If you want to make MLB, you want to stick by this, you got to stick by it. If that's an official game and you want to make them official games, then the stats are official. I just don't get, you know.
Yeah.
But then, oddly enough, this year, before the season started, you want to make the Negro League stats count as official. Wait, hell, you didn't play in the major leagues. Now, I'm not saying that's not a good idea or a bad idea, but you never played. That wasn't an official MLB game. So why are those stats counting? If that's not an official MLB game, when an actual official MLB game doesn't count, what are you doing? What counts and what doesn't count? It's like saying every game on Tuesday don't count. What the hell are you doing?
Yeah. Why?
If it's a regular season game, it counts. How hard is that?
It's still going to affect the player's stats the same. It's still going to affect the team's record all the same. So, what's the problem here?
Yeah.
And like
Cut
I said,
the player's salary for 2 innings then.
Yeah. See if you try to touch their money, then see what happens. You know what I mean?
Cut the price of the admission down 2 innings.
Yeah.
Well, I pay $30 for this ticket. I play for a 9-inning game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only getting a 7. Well, hell, I want $4 back. I want my money back completely. I want spring training tickets because this game's not an official game.
Yeah. Once you start reaching into their pocket, you'll get a different answer.
If it's an official game, it's official stats. I can't see how you can't get any easier than that. And if MLB was right or smart, somewhat, they would have came right out yesterday and came up with something. Even if they wanted to stand by it, it's not a no-hitter. Just come right out and be the first thing. Hey, here's our answer to this. Not wait. I still don't think they have said anything.
I don't know if there's an official statement or anything.
Even though they made an official statement before all this started, I would come out even after one said, like, hey, we get it. We're still standing by our thing. Just come out and say something.
Yeah.
Not be like, we don't say nothing.
Yeah.
We just sit here. Like, make it a statement. It's okay. You can make a statement.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we stand by it. You know, congratulations to him, whatever, but we still stand by our decision.
At least you can respect that.
Like, hey,
you know?
that's what they want. They got it. That's their backbone. At least they said something.
Mm-hmm.
At least they're not like, we got their money or whatever.
Yeah.
Like college football or college sports.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, what no-hitter?
Yeah, so it's not. It's just stupid. Not that I'm super upset about it, or like, oh, you know, I'm gonna go home and cry. No, I don't like the 7-inning games a bunch. But if you're gonna make it official, it should be official. Simple as that.
Yeah. Still got 21 outs of no hits, and that's a pretty big feat against the Braves. Yeah,
who had 1 hit in 14 innings.
Yeah, which is just awful. But I mean, you know, it should count. That's what I think. I'm more in that camp. I see the argument. I get it. I understand it. I just don't know if I really don't think I agree with it.
Yeah.
You
Perfect game, no.
Yeah, 27 up, 27 down. You know, that's just how it is. Yeah.
No hitter, though. It's official game. It's official game.
Yeah, it's a no-hitter. You didn't give up hits.
Yeah.
You know. Well, we'll see what happens if maybe MLB does make an official statement, at least outlining what their reasoning is for it. We'll see what happens. I don't think there has been as of yet, but we'll see. We'll Maybe we'll keep this updated if it goes longer than into next week. I don't know if it will though.
We see another one.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think we got no hitter in 3 straight weeks.
Yeah. If technically, I mean, if we're considered official, then yeah, 3 straight weeks there's a no hitter, which is pretty crazy, especially with the perfect game drought we're going through. You know?
Those Braves players, it's official.
Yeah.
They went in that clubhouse. They're coming back today, going, "We got no hit yesterday."
Yeah, we got 1 hit in 14 innings, and I got 2 of them on my fantasy team.
Yeah, I had 1 of them. I'm not saying that you might not say it's a no hitter, but they're going to that clubhouse saying we got no hit today.
Yeah. Yeah,
they believe it.
Yeah, and they're not feeling great about it. So,
Yeah.
But anyway, that's kind of our 2 cents on the matter. Number 2, big news. The A's winning streak unfortunately comes to an end. The baseball world seemed ready for Moneyball 2.0 with the 2021 A's as they rocketed their way up the standings with a 13-game win streak. The win streak came to an end on Sunday after the Orioles defeated the A's 8-1. They had a 13-game win streak, 7 games shy of their historic. I believe it was 20 games. I don't know. I don't think they got to 21, right?
I think 20 is a record. I think.
Yeah. So
wow.
I mean,
I have to look it up, but I think it's definitely up there on the top.
Yeah. But yeah, 20 wins historically with the A's. There's a whole movie about it and everything. Moneyball. If you guys haven't seen it, it's a great movie. But the A's came awfully close to 13. I mean, that's a pretty healthy winning streak. That's pretty amazing to win that much, especially early. To shake that rust off, they started 0-7.
0-6 and 1-7.
Yeah. So I mean, to shake that rust off and come out and win 13 straight, it's unbelievable.
And I, went back and listened. You said we're gonna pull off 20 wins there in a row. That's what they do.
That's what they do.
The A's are just a ruckus.
I know.
They're just a ruckus all the time. And we said it. No, they're not. You're not going to worry about them. Mm-hmm. You're not going to worry about it. 0-6, that's awful. 1-7, not great. 13 straight. They're the first team, I think, in MLB history, they said, to have a 6-game losing streak and a 13-game win streak in the same season. They did it in the same month.
They did it back-to-back, essentially. It's amazing. The amazing A's.
They're just nuts. They're a ruckus. Like if you're someone who bets, a bettor, you shouldn't touch the A's. They're one of those teams where like you don't want to bet them, but you shouldn't bet against them.
Yeah. Because
they're a ruckus. They're never out of a game. That's the team that could be down 15 runs and win in 1 inning.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You're like this team. Here they go again. Or they can win 20 straight and just win the World Series at the end of the year. Like the Rockies that 1 year. They just got ridiculous hot win all over the world. Like that's the A's.
Yeah.
You just know they're going to be like, we got to go face the A's. Like, oh, here we go. We don't know what we're going to get. We just know they're going to be playing hard, going crazy, and it's just a mess.
And it's been that way since, I mean, as long as I can remember, early mid 2000s A's with this whole Moneyball thing. They've always been like that.
Pretty much once the free agency started coming in and Reggie kind of left and they kind of lost Raleigh and Catfish Hunter, they kind of turned to this team that was like lower player, superstar names, lower money, but just found a way to do it.
Figured it out.
They had big names they won all the time. And then the big names kind of faded away and the money kind of went different. And now they just win games however way they can get them.
Yeah. And that's the thing. They don't, 1 through 9 don't have, I mean, they have a good team, don't get me wrong. They have a good team, pitching, hitting, all that. It's not like this comes out of nowhere. I mean, you picked them to win the West, right? I mean, they're a good team.
They're good together.
Yeah, and exactly. There's something in the water, in the sewage of Oakland, where the team that they get, and I think, the management has something to do with it too, obviously, but that the aura around the team and the mentality in the clubhouse, I'm sure, in that locker room. I mean, they no matter who you roll in and out of there seems to be like a us against the world mentality.
They know their role. They love the game. They play hard. They try hard. They just want to win. It's what the city and what that team wants to do, and it's what they do all the time.
Yeah.
They just have you do this. You're a defensive guy. You're a pinch hitter. You're a home run guy. You're an average guy. You're going to just be a maniac. You're going to do this. They just know their roles. So there's not one guy goes, well, you got to do all this. You got to do all this. You got to bat 330 and hit 40 home runs. It's like, nope, I'm just going to hit home runs. Hey, I'm just going to hit for average. Hey, I'm just going to run around like a maniac. They have their roles. Similar to the Royals those couple of years. Similar to what the Rays have been trying to emulate and have emulated. Knowing your role and just being comfortable in it and just be like, this is what we do. They could be themselves. Guys go crazy out in Oakland. Like they could be themselves. They could if you want to have dreadlocks, you could just be yourself. you know?
Yeah.
And it's just, well, look at Jed Lowry. He went back there 3 times. He was done after last year in the Mets. And he went to the A's, and he's their 3-hitter. Doing great.
Yeah.
It's just, you got to love that team.
I know. There's, I understand if you're an Astros fan or an Angels fan or whatever, or even
they're just pesky. There was like, this team's annoying.
Yeah, and even a Rangers fan, because there were some years back then, Josh Hamilton missing the ball in center and stuff like that. There's probably some Rangers.
Going to Oakland, it was just, you knew your team was going to struggle.
Yeah.
It's like going there, it's like, oh.
As Yankee fans, we know.
Especially because you could go West Coast.
Yeah.
But you go in there, you're like, this is going to be trouble. If they're good or they're not good, it's like, this is trouble.
Yeah. So they're a team that you didn't want to play in that stretch right here. Who knows where they go from here? I suspect they'll still be good all season. It's just, are they going to be a streaky team, or are they kind of going to be there all year? And look, the Astros went in the opposite direction. They both started at opposite ends. Astros were world beaters, and the A's were at the basement. Now they're at opposite ends. The Astros look bad, and the A's rattled off 13 straight. So, and the Angels are still there. In the West, they're the only one. They're caught in the middle of this ruckus.
Yeah.
And the Mariners are in first, I think, or they're in second. What is going on over there? What's going on in the West?
Yeah. It's just... It's crazy, but one thing, too, to throw out there with Oakland, they did put a proposal in for a new stadium again. I believe the funding was a $12 billion stadium idea that would build not just a stadium on the Howard Terminal site in Oakland, a waterfront site, to build just a stadium. It would also build, I believe, hotels, business buildings or business plaza. I believe it was also housing, individual housing, as well as apartments and hotels and stuff like that. It was a whole, turn this whole terminal and piece of land into like a whole, downtown baseball area, where there's hotels, there's businesses, there's apartments, there's houses, there's waterfront property. It's a whole thing, not just a stadium. So $12 billion you're gonna balk at for sure, especially Oakland, who struggles to fund teams and stuff. But it's just a whole idea, money-making idea, and really a great idea. The stadium looked great in their proposal. So hopefully they can push it together, because A's need a stadium, they want a stadium, and they're on the doorstep of saying goodbye to Oakland to get that stadium. And if that's the case, they lost all their teams pretty instantly.
Yeah.
Because the Warriors moved up the Bay there, Raiders left.
Yeah, you got the A's and
who's the closest after that? What, San Jose? The Sharks?
Maybe.
And they're San Jose.
Yeah, so you don't. Yeah, is there even an Oakland hockey team? I don't think so.
No, that's not yours.
Yeah.
It's San Jose. It's like, they're kind of ours, but
yeah.
So it's like Warriors. They're kind of ours still, but they were at Oracle. They were right there.
Yeah.
So they were yours. They were in Oakland. Now they're not. So they got to find a way to keep it. And I know the public funds are tough out there, but they got to find a way to keep the A's. So, but that's just a little update there. I've seen that they're official. Another official proposal to the city. So hopefully they can work on that and find a way to keep them.
Yeah, it would be nice to get them that, and Oakland fans. It would be nice to have something be like, oh, here's our...
I think it's a top 5 market in all sports. One of the top 5 biggest markets. And it's just not utilized.
I know, it's strange.
You got a good stadium there. You got World Series there. You can have All-Star games there. You're going to have, future games. You can use... It's West Coast. It's good weather. It's it's right there.
Yeah.
Just they don't use it.
Yeah, like you said, it's big market. It's strange. Obviously, when you think of, with the Raiders, Las Vegas and Oakland, yeah, you think more Las Vegas. And I know Las Vegas wants some teams. They got the Golden Knights and stuff like that. I get it. But like you said, underutilized market out there. Is it maybe, do they feel it's oversaturated with San Francisco and LA? And, do they feel that? Maybe, but I don't think so.
They'll sell out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oakland sells out. They want even if they're not good. Raiders always sold out.
Yeah.
When the team's good out there, especially when the team's good, those fans, they love their sports and they know their sports. Mm-hmm. So if you had something nice there, you would maybe attract that guy who's like, maybe I like the Giants because they're not terrible stadium wise.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, Oakland's got a nice team. I'll go watch there. That's where the Giants in San Francisco starts getting some fans. It's like, well, I'd rather go watch an Oakland game or rather go watch a Giants game in those two stadiums. If you had a good stadium out there, you would definitely attract other people. It's just you don't have it. So, and this idea would it's a whole area. It's like it's the area. It's the sporting venue area. It's like, this is cool. You're not just going to the stadium and going home. The Coliseum's just a big parking lot. You're going to the whole area. It's like, I got businesses. I got this. I got restaurants, bars, hotels, apartments. People live there. Housing. It's right on the water. It's a whole almost city inside of a city.
Mm.
So it's a really cool idea. I just hope they can kind of get there.
Yeah, figure something out, because as much as the Coliseum's fun to see them play and all that.
Coliseum's just the A's, but it's it's gonna fall down.
Yeah, I know.
That's
yeah.
it's not even like, oh, it's just not good. It's gonna fall down soon. Like pieces of the wall just come off that place.
Raw sewage.
Raw sewage in the dugout, knee high.
Yeah.
Like delay games because there's sewage in the dugout.
Ugh, God. Yeah, it's strange over there, but hopefully they get it. They deserve it. So.
Yeah, they do.
But so the last piece of news we have before we get into our weekly updates with players and teams, Neil Walker announced his retirement last week. Shortly after we recorded last week, I believe it was last Tuesday. This happened. Neil Walker, 12-year veteran, announced his retirement. 12-year MLB veteran, I should say. Walker played most famously with the Pirates, as well as stints with the Mets, Yankees, Brewers, Marlins, and Phillies. And he'll be turning 36 in September. So getting up there in age, and kind of figured, he wasn't getting really any love on the free agency. Kind of felt like like Jay Bruce, he lived out his time in MLB. He reached that, he's 12-year veteran, so he reached that 10-year mark where you get that pension.
Yep. Player benefits and stuff.
Yeah, so he'll, and hopefully enjoy the rest of his time. Hopefully he comes back to a little bit baseball, maybe becomes a hitting coach, manager. He always kind of seemed like a pretty knowledgeable player, so maybe he has a life within baseball still, even at, he's only 36, so he's got a lot of time to figure out what he wants to do. Maybe an announcer. I could see him being an announcer, analyst on MLB Network. I could see that.
Yeah, he had a good career, Neil Walker. He had a nice, solid career, Pittsburgh, and played with the Yankees and Mets. He had a good career, switch hitter. He had a really solid career, just similar to Jay Bruce. Very solid careers. Jay Bruce's career, I think, got cut very short because of the massive amounts of shifts and analytic baseball.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, good for Neil Walker, good career, and nothing to sneeze at. Got his over 10 years in, and just a solid player, all-star, and good for him.
Yeah, if you look at his peak years, especially as a second baseman, I'm sure he probably in his peak years stacked up pretty well with some other second basemen, probably that you'd be surprised about. So
yeah, and he'll see him around Pittsburgh. I'm sure Pittsburgh Pirates will bring him back for special ceremonies and parts of teams and stuff like that. He'll be there because he was well liked, and a big part of the Pirates franchise here in the last 20-25 years. Yeah,
he had a good time there, and like I said, he bounced around a little bit. So we'll see what happens, but best of luck to him after he leaves baseball. Hopefully he comes back in some capacity. It'd be cool. And then finally, who's doing the best right now? We have, again, the Dodgers still owning the best record in the league with a 15-7 record. But behind them, the Giants at 14-8 and the A's at 14-8. No surprise there with the A's winning 13 straight. That helps. Giants are second in the NL with 14-8. The A's are first in the AL at 14-8. I believe the Red Sox are right behind them at 14-9. So those are your top two teams in the AL and the NL. And the Dodgers still own the best run differential in baseball at plus 32, and the Tigers still have the worst at minus 37. Dodgers coming off a series loss to the Padres, and a pretty exciting
in a blown game yesterday.
Yeah, pretty exciting Sunday night baseball game, because weren't they up like 6 runs? Yeah, so they were up
in the seventh inning, I think.
Yeah,
it got crazy.
Yeah, they have some great series, Dodgers and Padres. I can watch them all the time.
So, but yeah, some other hot teams here. I got, I obviously got the A's, Royals, White Sox, Brewers, the Pirates, and the Diamondbacks. Mm-hmm. And two of those teams I just want to throw out there. Yes, the Brewers' pitching has been unbelievable, and that was what we talked about, before the season started. Their pitching, there was no pitching there. Mm. The pitching has stepped up. Young pitchers, Corbin Burns, have stepped up.
Sure.
Like the potential said they could. I still don't see it being long lasting. So we'll see if it could last, but I don't see it. So I feel like their pitching will go back to, maybe not quite back to what it was, but kind of simmer down. And Pirates, they won 3 straight series, but let's not go crazy there. Mm-hmm. Royals, team, he said he thought they were better than, had a decent roster and stuff. So they look all right. I wouldn't wouldn't think they're going to be doing this by the end of the year, but you never know. And Giants, I said that we're actually going to compete with the Rockies for the bottom of that division. I still hold by that. I still don't see that team being that good. They're playing well right now, so good for them. But things will turn. But yeah, they're playing really well. I just it's still early yet. But the Brewers, obviously, their pitching thing was more potential. They can turn Pirates, it's not good. We'll see that. Giants, I think we'll see that. Royals, I think you'll see that turn too. But I think if any of those teams out of the Royals, Pirates, Giants had a chance at really sneaking into playoffs, I think maybe the Royals would be your better bet.
Probably, yeah.
But just wanted to mention that, yes, we did say those things. Well, especially myself with Giants, said those things. And I still stand by them. So
but yeah, it's still.
Not jumping off my ideas or predictions just yet.
Yeah, no, me neither. I still think the Giants. I think I had them third or fourth, just under 500. That's probably still realistic. I have the Mariners last. That's probably still realistic, even though they actually do look pretty good. You know, you have, like you said, the Royals. They'll fall back down to earth. But I even, we both noticed kind of that they had talent. So, it is what it is. That they're, that I think they're at the top of the Central. So it's good for them. But these teams will fall back down to earth, and I'd like to mention that the Yankees look a little better, but they're still not playing great. They still have the same problems, so that's not going to be fixed. Yeah. And the Braves really don't look that great right now. Yeah. So, you have some confusing stuff going on in baseball, but overall, I think at law of averages, I think these teams are too good to sit down there, and I don't think the Mariners are good enough or the Giants are good enough to sit where they're at. No. So, I'm not going to wish bad on any of these teams. It'd be cool if the Royals were just all of a sudden good for no reason at all. But I mean, realistically, we'll see what happens when we're in June and July and see where the dog days hit, and we'll see where we're at.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But it's cool to see now.
Sure, and just like you said, throw in some of the cold teams. So you said that some of them aren't playing well. Some of them, like I hear, the Twins, one of the worst records in baseball. The Indians not playing well. Lost 3 or 4 to the Yankees, who were not playing good at all. So the Angels. As much as we said get off to a hot start, they kind of did get off to a hot start. Now it's going back to, I think they're 3-7 in the last 10 games, give or take. Reds hit the snot out of the ball. They still kind of hitting the snot out of the ball. They're not pitching. One game they hit 6 home runs and lost.
Yeah. And
their starting pitcher gave less than 2 runs or less, and hit 6 home runs in the same game and lost.
That's weird.
So Reds being a ruckus out there, and Tigers not playing well.
Yeah,
which is kind of expected. But yeah, they're one of my cold teams here.
Yeah.
So. But things will turn for some of these teams like the Twins, I think, and even the Angels. I think things will definitely turn. I think the Reds are going to kind of stay as that team where it's like, 5 in a row wins, 5 in a row losses.
Yeah.
It'll kind of be like that because they hit, and then when they're not hitting, you don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of, like we both said, the West was weird. Both West divisions are weird right now. Obviously, in the NL West, Dodgers and Padres are clearly the best. But, you have the Giants sneaking up there for some reason. In the AL West, they're all over the place.
Yeah, they're nuts.
So, I mean, the West divisions are weird. I still think the Cardinals are the most talented in the NL Central. I still stick by that. But, the Brewers are surprising me with their pitching.
Yeah, and the Cardinals are just doing their job, staying 500, and then things are kind of work their way, and they figure out who's playing where, and that'll work themselves out. If you're one of those teams and you're sitting around 500 and you're supposed to be good, that's fine.
Yeah,
you
can live with that.
Games under, like the Yankees, they have a hole to climb out of. The Braves are still kind of around 500. Like, okay, we're not playing good, but we're 500. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah, you come out of April, shake the rust off, and get going.
Yeah,
so from there, let's move on to who's hot and who's not. We'll move on to our hot players and cold players. For me this week, in no particular order, like usual, my number 1 hot player is Michael Brantley, batting .435 over the last week, .652 slugging, .1132 OPS. Even with the Astros really not doing that great, he's over there just doing his thing.
Clocks in, clocks out.
Yeah, he's
same thing every day.
Yeah. He you have to worry about him. Number 2, who won Player of the Week here, Fernando Tatis Jr., batted .435 as well over the last week with an .1130 slugging, a .1630 OPS, and a little side stat that he did have 5 home runs. I believe he had 2 multi-home run games or something. A lot of people
back-to-back games against a home run against a Cy Young. I think he was the first player to do that.
Oh, really? Is that right?
Yeah, I think he had back-to-back games with a home run against the Cy Young.
Yeah, and obviously the comparisons to his father, who hit the 2 grand slams in 1 inning off Chan Ho Park.
Yeah, that's not quite a comparison there. That's one of the greatest feats you ever see.
Yeah, but he was in Dodger Stadium. He had the 2 home runs, so it was kind of cool that there was the, like father like son thing. They're both good hitters. Then after him, I got CJ Cron, batting .450 over the last week with a .950 slugging, a .1426 OPS.
Colorado.
Yeah, I mean, what do you say? I mean, he was always a
masher.
Yeah, pretty good hitter. He, like you said, he could just hit the ball, mash the hell out of the ball. Yeah, I mean, there's just something about him I always kind of liked. Number 4, J.D. Davis, .474 average, .895 slugging, .1419 OPS. No one seems to talk about J.D. Davis, I feel like.
The guys the Mets don't want, I feel like, but he's even one of their better hitters.
Yeah,
They never find a spot for him. They never start. It's like the Daniel Murphy. I always keep saying it. They never wanted Murphy, and he always played well.
Yeah. He's earning a spot on that team, or at least he should be.
Yeah,
his
defense has struggled. He's made like 5 errors already this year.
Yeah.
Which is the reason why people are not picked him up in fantasy. But
no,
when you're hitting like that, you'll make it work.
No, absolutely. And then number 5, speedster, Fran Reyes.
Oh.
With a 421 average, 842 slugging, a 1292 OPS over the last week. I don't know what got into him.
I tell you, I like him.
Me too. I like Fran Reyes.
I like guys who can mash the ball, but God, he just makes me laugh. He's such a big guy. He gets up there. I was watching him play against the Yankees. I just started laughing. Just started laughing. Like, look at this guy. He's 6'6". He's ginormous. He's big. He's monstrous. He's running around the base. He's making noises around the base, like what? Running around the bases. He had first career triple, then he hit the second triple. He had his first career stolen base. He's mashing home runs. He's hitting the ball 120 miles per hour over Frazier's head. I mean, he's just smashing the ball.
I know.
He's just a big goofball. You gotta love him.
Yeah.
He's like Chris Carter. If Chris Carter said things, because Chris Carter just never said anything. He was just like, well, I'm just gonna swing my bat and strike out and hit a couple home runs. But Fernando Reyes is like a big goofy guy you want to get behind. And he's just similar type of player. Reyes better hitter. Carter was literally home run or nothing. But Fernando Reyes is a goofball, and
I love watching him play.
Yeah, I root for him. Maybe not quite against the Yankees, but I root for him because he's just and that power that he possesses is just disgusting. No man should be able to hit a ball like that. He's one of those guys. You look down he won't be like Frank Thomas, because Frank Thomas was great, but like Frank Howard.
Yeah.
Where it's like one of those guys where it's like this guy's got monster power, but he won't really kind of Dave Kingman kind of guy where it's like he's not going to go in the Hall of Fame, I don't think, but he's got the power to remember him.
Yeah,
so Fernando Reyes is going to be. I think as long as he has a little bit more of a prolonged career.
Yeah, I had him in fantasy. I guess in 2019, the last time we had a league, and he just low average, but he just hit so many home runs. It was like every time I had him in the lineup, he'd be like 1 for 3 with a home run, or 1 for 4 with a home run and a walk or something. You know what I mean? That's just what he does. I mean, he's hitting better overall, I'd say. He looks better at the plate.
240-250 hitter is what he'll probably be, but he'll a chance of 30 home runs for sure. He's got a chance of 40-50 home runs.
Oh yeah.
But 30 home runs for sure. And he's just that size of someone that's big is just hard not to like.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Good for him.
Yeah.
For him. So to go in now, I have a couple guys here. Some of them guys, friend mail, of course, had them on my list, and JD as well. But some other hitters, I got Omar Narvaez, my boy. That is my fantasy boy.
Oh yeah.
Gotta love. He's hitting like 365 this year as a catcher or something like that.
Quietly.
Yeah.
Like no one talks about him.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
Yeah, he's crazy. I said I had J.D. Davis, Fran Reyes mentioned, Nick Mattoon.
Yeah.
He's batting like 4-something over the last 7 days, and Ramil Tapia for the Rockets.
Yeah.
He's been batting I think high 3s to 400s over the last 7 days. So there's a few other guys here. Just wanted to throw out there hitters wise that were playing pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
And I always like throwing some pitchers here. Of course, Madison Bumgarner. He had even before this start, his other start was pretty good. Before that, were very bad, but last 2 starts good. Dane Duffy, great year. .360 ERA I think he's got going right now.
Wow.
He's pitching great. Jay Happ, no hitter through 7 to 30 innings one day and he's pitching great.
Yeah.
Tyler Mahle for the Reds, just kind of like your Tanner Roark kind of pitcher where he's always like 3.5 ERA, 3.7 ERA every year year in, year out, but no one talks about him. He's having a good go of it.
Mm-hmm.
And Chapman out of the bullpen.
Yeah, he's been fantastic.
He looks really good with the splitter and still throwing hard, very hard.
Yeah.
He looks very good.
Yeah, this would arguably be, as we see Chapman a lot, being Yankee fans, but I'd say this is arguably some of the best he's looked.
And especially to start the season for a guy who's a velocity guy, big guy. But Tatis was one he always started slow because you got to get the mechanics right to get the velocity. They're big guys. He looks right on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Looks very good. It looks very good. So there's some pitchers there that look super well. And definitely, people go take a look at Danny Duffy's stats, and Tyler Mahle's his career just consistent, man. So
yeah.
I hope throw some names out there. Some guys could take notice too. I always like Danny Duffy. Got a signed card of his.
Mm-hmm.
Thought he had some really good stuff. A couple years, a couple injuries, and kind of derailed maybe a really special career, but still got some time to make a very good career.
Sure, yeah. And then throw out there like we said earlier, Corbin Burns has been
40 strikeouts, no walks. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, he's been just throughout the season. He's been fantastic, which is good for him and that Brewer team with the pitching they're getting right now.
Yeah.
But to move on to the cold players we got here, number one here I got Eugenio Suarez, .077 average, .192 slugging, and a 335 OPS. You don't have Eugenio Suarez necessarily, I would say, for average. He's definitely a power guy.
Shortstop now.
Yeah, I didn't even know that happened until you told me. But I know all season his average has been rough. I'm pretty sure he's still hitting some home runs, but the average is really, for the last 2 seasons now, has been low. So we'll see what happens with him, but I don't suspect him, maybe at best, a 240 hitter, 250,
Yeah.
So
50 home runs.
Yeah, of course, but after him, unfortunately, the same team, Joey Votto, not hitting great over the last week. .087 average, a 217 slugging, and a 440 OPS. So 2 guys in the Reds lineup having notable struggles, especially a guy like Votto who's been questioned by a lot of MLB fans over these last few years about the production he can produce at his age now. Behind them, I have Jake Cronenworth over the last week batting 100 with a 100 slugging and a 380 OPS. Even though that Padres lineup is, especially with Tatis back, is kind of firing on all cylinders. Cronenworth's a little behind the 8 ball still with hitting. With a deep lineup like that, though, obviously you're going to have people that go through cold streaks, and, well, hopefully the guys like Tatis, who's got a hot streak right now, counteracts it,
Sure, half of them hot, a couple of them hot, a couple of them cold, and a couple of them just doing all right. You're going to win a bunch of games.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of where he's falling right now. Number 4, Salvador Perez, batting 130 over the last week, 130 slugging, 297 OPS. I didn't even have to look up his stats. I knew he was batting like shit because I got him on my fantasy team.
He left today's game with a thumb contusion, too. So
yeah, well, he had a hit. That's why.
Yeah, well.
No, yeah, hopefully he's all right. It didn't look... I don't think it looked too serious.
No, just a little boo-boo.
Yeah. And then number 5 I got here, Jackie Bradley Jr.,
Wow.
batting 143 over the last week with a 143 slugging and 360 OPS.
That's all he is.
Yeah, he's got to be, with the contract he got, has got to be starting over there with the Brewers, right? I mean, I haven't really seen many highlights from him, so maybe over this is just a sign of...
because Lorenzo Cain got hurt, so...
Yeah, I mean...
and Yelich is hurt. So
yeah, that's right. He's definitely got to be starting, so... not really production. I know he wanted a massive contract from reports. I don't really see it. I know he's an okay defender.
Yeah, he's a good defender. But...
You slot him into a lineup that's already got good hitters. He could kind of slide in there and be a speedy. You'd like to think a speedy contact guy, but his average is even low for a guy you'd want from that. So I don't know where he's at. I'd like to say a lot of these guys that end up on the cold list will come out of it, but I mean I'm not a big Jackie Bradley guy. No. I never really thought much of him. He's a guy that fit on the Red Sox. He was a role guy on the Red Sox. He came up clutch for them.
Smack a base hit 110 feet off the monster and inflate your stats 40 points.
Yeah, well, that always helps. Yeah, but I do wonder about him. I should say about the production that he can give that team. So that's who I got for my cold guys.
Yeah, and some guys I got here, some bigger names, I guess you could say. Charlie Blackman. Very, very much struggling. Marcell Zuna, I believe he didn't have a hit this past week. Mike should know.
Oh yeah, I know.
Had a couple good up bats though. I think it's the last out of the Bumgarner. He lined out the right field.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Matt Chapman still struggling. He's just not hitting the ball well.
Yeah.
Josh Bell struggling. I would know. I have him. Max Muncy, another one struggling, and Dansby Swanson. Another hitter is just kind of struggling. Again, 2 names in the Braves kind of explains why they had 1 hit, 14 innings.
Yeah, and even, I know you got Acuna. Acuna obviously looked unbelievable his first 2 weeks there. And then he got some day-to-day stuff. He was out. Yeah. He's, I think, over the last week, I don't know if he's hitting great.
He came back Friday. Okay, and then, of course, he got beamed yesterday in the hand.
Yeah, of course.
Didn't look great, but he stayed in the game, thank God.
And then I have Freeman on my fantasy team. He's not really, average-wise, not hitting great. So there's a sign right there. There's your sign the Braves aren't really doing that great.
Yeah, so some cold pitchers to mention. You got Matt Shoemaker struggling. Plesac had a bad start. Zach Wheeler's stats aren't bad, but his last couple starts just aren't not that great, especially after that first one, opening day, with 7 innings, 1 hit.
Yeah.
He's only been okay. Logan Allen got beat up again by the Yankees. Big year right there. And Amir Garrett, who was on my team, has been very, very awful this year.
Yeah,
15, I think he has 15 ERA. just really not striking guys out. So for a guy who, spring training, I think he faced 9 hitters, struck all 9 of them out.
Yeah, it's weird.
He just he'll be all right, but right now he's just not playing well. And a guy I knew I was gonna forget, but I had to mention with the hot hitters, Matt Olson. Oh my goodness, batting .320 this year, 6 home runs, one of the league lead, got like 19 RBIs. He's a maniac. Matt Olson's probably my favorite player in the league. If I had to pick 3, he's definitely at the top of the rank. I could name a couple other ones and say LeMahieu, but he's arguably my favorite player in the league, and he is playing very well. Big reason why the A's won 13 straight, because he was just mashing home runs.
Yeah.
He was 3 for 5 some games. He was 2 for 4. Not all these games were just home runs. 3 for 5, three doubles he had. Like, he's really hitting the ball well for a guy who had a 190 average last year and 14 home runs.
Yeah.
He's actually hitting for average again. Really should be a 260 hitter with a bunch of home runs. So the way he's going right now, he's definitely got a chance of higher average than that and a bunch of home runs.
Sure. So. Yeah, he's looking good at the plate. And, I watched the whole – I don't know if I mentioned it last week or if I mentioned to you in private. I watched the whole MLB network analysis they did on him. They said he flattened his bat out, or he was flattening his bat out, so he turned the bat while he was up at the plate, so it was shorter to the ball. They said, he was late on stuff last year because his bat was farther behind his head. Said he fixed it back to what he was in 2019. And you could see the results, so.
Yeah, so go him. I love Matt Olson.
Yeah.
So, but last little bit of news here. Got some injuries to talk about. George Springer is expected back tomorrow, Tuesday, April 27th. Yelich got a good news from the MRI. He's still not out of the dark or in the clear, but he had some good news from the MRI. Pham exited the game yesterday in the second inning, where it looked like some sort of calf or hamstring issue.
Yeah.
So we'll take notes on that. Corey Knebel's expected to be out months.
Really?
Dodgers with some sort of trapeze or bicep injury.
Yeah.
Castro dislocated a finger. He's expected to miss a couple weeks. We have Brian Hayes had a setback. Not a huge one, but a setback, so that would slow his progress. Gene Segura, who was playing pretty well, went on the IL. Anthony Rendon and Trout are both expected to be back here pretty shortly. I think Trout they expected back in the lineup today. He missed a few games with Rendon very shortly after. Odorizzi expected to go to the IL. He left his last start in the first inning.
He's looked awful.
Yeah, and now he's hurt.
Yeah.
Ryu left the game yesterday with a glute strain, they said. Not really. They don't know how long he might miss. Maybe a start, but nothing yet. And the Astros getting some guys back from COVID. Yordan Alvarez, I think Altuve's expected back. I think we've seen even Bregman back. He wasn't really COVID, but expected back. So they're getting a few other reinforcements back.
Sure.
Mostly from the COVID.
Yeah, that's good that here's some guys going back. Sucks, reading off the injury list, having people have setbacks or like you said with Knebel being out months, that always sucks. So, but it's always good, you got people on the right track coming back, and you always like to have people on the field. Like to see people get derailed because of injuries, especially if they have talent, like Yelich, with the back thing. It just sucks. So.
Yeah. So.
But that's kind of all I got as far as news and the roundup and stuff here. So unless I don't know what else you got, or if you want to bring anything up, we can go right into the trivia question.
No, I don't got too much. I mean, just pretty much just a trivia question here, and that goes with the week. I think makes the perfect sense. How many no-hitters are not recognized by the MLB? And just a little disclaimer here, this number you could probably go from a couple sources, maybe see different numbers, but the number I'm going to give out is where I found. Mike also looked up here. It was nohitters.com. And this really is a great place to go find some stats on no-hitters and stuff like that. And this is where I got these numbers from. So you can probably get some different numbers from different places. But I think your most accurate number is what this one here is what I'm going to give you. But again, the question is how many no-hitters are not recognized by MLB? And the reasons for not being recognized. Games that were where people no-hit through 9 innings but lost in extra innings. A shortened game, as Bumgarner, or rain shortened, or by darkness back in the day, or 9 innings not pitched because they happened to be losing and the home team was winning, and they only pitched 8 innings because they didn't have to face them in the 9th inning because the home team was winning. Those games are not recognized either. So, and there's actually one that's not recognized because the National League was not formed yet. I believe that was 1876 or 1877, so that one doesn't count. But the answer is 57 no-hitters not recognized by baseball. And these were changed in 1991 when they made the rules that a pitcher had to pitch 9 innings to have a no-hitter. or a pitcher or a team had to pitch 9 innings to have a no-hitter, at least 9 innings. And that was in 1991 they changed that rule. So that's when they made these other no-hitters not recognized. They're notable achievements instead of no-hitters.
Yeah.
So how many no-hitters are not recognized by MLB for multiple reasons? 57. And that number subject to change and wherever you kind of go. But that's your pretty strict number there. And, you're safe with that number.
Yeah. Or if at least, save 1 or 2, it's right in, it's in that ballpark. It's not
You told
too
someone
far
it's
off.
57, you're not wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true.
So
yeah, that was a tough one. I didn't know even. I saw some articles after Bumgarner did it about like the history of no hitters that were not technically official, but I didn't really look too much into it. So I only thought there were a few. There was a guy the only thing I saw was that there was a guy in 1906 that threw a 7-inning no hitter. It didn't count, or it ended up not counting because of the 91 thing. So I did see that. But
yeah. And there was a guy, Red Sox had a range short and won 5 innings. That was like an 08 pitcher throw one. I don't remember the name. And you can go look up the breakdown, how many in each league. I think it was like 185 combined in the American League and National League no-hitters or something like that. Then you had like 15 thrown from the American Association League. But the one that didn't count because there was no National League yet, so they don't count it as an official no-hitter. There's some crazy stats you can go look up at no-hitters.
yeah,
And the first no-hitter who threw the first one, and game shortened by darkness, and there's some crazy stuff you can go look up. But no-hitters in the history of the game are just one, they go hand in hand, but the history of the game is just unmatched by any other sport.
absolutely.
And it's just completely different sports. It's like 4 different sports. The way the game was played, at least 3 different. You get it from like crazy before 1900s, and then you got like the dead ball, and then 50, and then you got now. It's just like the sport is almost completely different sports.
Yeah, as the time goes on, there's baseball is such a unique sport in that with the old school and the tradition and the history of it. So obviously a lot of sports have history, are deep rooted in history. Hockey, obviously basketball. Football not as much, but especially baseball. There's just so much no matter how much you read about the old stuff with baseball, you'll never know everything. There's just too much.
And then it's all tracked. That's the thing. These all, especially back then, they're all handwritten stats and hand noted and scorecards. And people found, like the one before the National League here, they didn't find it until 1950 or 1951. Someone found the scorecard.
It's amazing.
So they didn't even know that it was there until like they were like, oh, all right, 70 years later, they're like, hey, this guy threw no hitter.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You had to write everything down. You had to keep everything. Someone had to track it all. It's just fantasy sports even existed, in the 90s and stuff. You had to handwrite it. There was no tracking it for you. It's just crazy how'd you go through to get these stats.
Yeah,
now
it's cool.
Just, it's all tracked for you. And, technically people still working for it, but, it's computerized.
Yeah.
You don't have a guy handwriting every stat and figuring it all out. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So to think that we had all these stats and someone doing it for you back then, it's incredible too.
Yeah, it makes life nice and easy, but yeah, it is. There's something cool about.
It's like the idea of someone having to pick up each pin when you're bowled back in the day to put them back up. There's no machine. It's like that concept. It's like, that's just crazy.
Yeah, like it's so beyond our thought. It's weird. Yeah, that's a good one. It's a cool one to pull for, especially regarding Bumgarner's no hitter. So that's kind of all I got for this episode. I don't know if you have anything you want to finish up with. If not, then we'll just wrap this up.
No, that's pretty much it. Just excited to keep seeing baseball, and I guess the only side news from some other sports you could see is the NFL draft will be on this weekend. So on Thursday, basketball and hockey are coming down to the playoff push here, so you'll start seeing some playoff sports there, and baseball's just kind of kicking in the full swing.
Yeah, getting our first month over with almost here. So
that's pretty much it. That's all we really got.
Yeah, that's
not a bunch going on yet.
Yeah, not a whole lot of news this week, so there wasn't really much to talk about. But that's kind of all I got. So let's wrap this up. So thank you guys for listening. You can catch this podcast every week on Google Podcasts as well as Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can also listen on our regularly updated YouTube channel as well as our website, screwball.podbean.com. You can follow me on Twitter at @RealMikeLepre. You can follow me on Instagram at Mike Lepre.
And you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at FDubs10.
You can follow our official Screwball Twitter at ScrewballPod. You can follow our official Screwball Facebook at ScrewballPod. No E in Screw. And that's it from us, guys. We'll see you next week.
Yep, take care.